Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker is a busy man this week. First, he was defending and supporting Texas Democrats who are defying Trump and Trump's puppet, Texas Governor Greg Abbott. Then he was off to Boston to meet with other Democratic leaders to strategize about opposing the Trump regime. And then he journeyed down to New York to squeeze in a visit with Stephen Colbert on The Late Show. His interview with Colbert was absolutely stunning and left audiences both floored and inspired. I'm going to show clips from that interview, and you are going to want to watch all of them, because the important lesson that both Pritzker and Colbert gave us last night is the reminder that in the end, the only way you can fight evil and darkness is with goodness and light. And it's really easy to abandon those principles with the way that Republicans have been able to appropriate and successfully equate meanness with strength, greed with success, and selfishness with virtue, and the pursuit of power as noble. And all the while claiming that they alone cling to traditional American values. Progressives, myself included, too frequently fall into the trap of thinking denunciation and exposing the evil will solve the problem. It doesn't. Democrats too frequently rely on the negative and as a result have lost the ability to boldly articulate our alternative vision. And don't get me wrong, Democratic warriors like Bernie, AOC, Jasmine Crockett are necessary, inspiring, and helpful. Not to mention, Bernie and the others are frequently articulating alternatives. But last night, Pritzker and Colbert proved you don't always have to punch first and propose your plan next. You can just bring light to the darkness. And they also proved you can have fun doing it. Here's Pritzker and Colbert's opening conversation, and you'll see it's both funny but very telling.
Everybody, we're back here with the governor of Illinois, J.B. Pritzker. Governor, and I don't want to, spoil anyone's reputation here. You're a billionaire, okay? Not a very popular thing to be right now.
I'm okay with it.
You're okay with it, I'm sure. You know what? That shows real courage. But
I've got to stand up for my people,
The thing is,
there's no dropping of the hammer here, but still, the humor revolves around one important message. Rich people do not have to be greedy. And specifically, billionaires do not have to be all about getting more tax breaks for themselves, hoarding more resources for themselves, and gaining more power for themselves. J.B. Pritzker used his wealth to gain political power, not for himself, but so that he could accomplish good for others, and especially for the vulnerable. It is the guiding theme of his political career, and it's the main reason he was reelected. But the important thing here is that Pritzker lives to work for liberal values. It's the light that guides him, not power, not wealth, which he already has, and not vindictiveness. And if you're wondering why a billionaire like Pritzker devotes himself to working for others, then he answered that question last night.
a politician seems like kind of a cruddy job these days. Why do you want to do the job you're doing?
It's a pretty serious question, and I know we're on a show that isn't always that serious, but
or always that funny.
Well, I'll try not to be funny then as I answer this question. I know you lost your father when you were young. I lost my father and my mother when I was young, and my mother was my hero. I mean, she really was, and she was an activist, an advocate for reproductive rights. I mean, long before, frankly, it was commonplace, the 60s and the early 70s. And when I was growing up, she took me to all the rallies and the marches, and I absorbed a lot of her enthusiasm. And so I have to say that I think you know this, that when you lose a parent when you're young, during your lifetime, you're hoping to in some way honor them, and in fact to fulfill something that they may have wanted to do during their lifetimes. And so standing up for people's rights and making sure that we're making life more affordable, raising the minimum wage, protecting people from the onslaught of somebody like Donald Trump, that's something my mother would be out doing right now. And so I'm very proud.
So awaiting no then. taking the values is the way to know them when you were robbed that when you were young.
It matters. Their values infused in me and, my attempt to carry it out as the governor of the state of Illinois.
The reaction Pritzker got to this explanation was so strong and lasted so long that it actually swamped what Colbert wanted to say, which was basically that this is the way a person keeps their parents alive, by keeping their values alive in you. Pritzker was not just grandstanding here. The reaction he got to his own life story is part of a larger pattern that comes into play when America is at its best, inspiring the goodness in people and inspiring people to do good. Obama was elected through hope and inspiration, and that's Lincoln's legacy as well. In the face of such overwhelming darkness, of encroaching fascism, Democrats and progressives cannot lose sight that hope, inspiration, and bringing light to the darkness are indeed our most powerful tools. I'm Anthony Vincent Gallo for Occupy Democrats.